Hello everyone, welcome to Achievers IAS classes. Let's begin a discussion on the current events of 8th December 2018. The first issue news is regarding a research paper which is co-authored by scientist M.S. Swaminathan, who, as you know, led India's green revolution during the 1970s and 80s. The research paper argues that BT crops, particularly BT cotton, is a failure as it has failed to live up to the promises of high yields, pest resistance, and reduction in insecticide use even after 10 years of its adoption. Also, the paper highlights the huge socio-economic cost which is borne by the farmers and therefore advocates reverting to traditional pest management techniques by showing the failure of Bolgar 2 type of cotton variety. What should be noted here is BT cotton occupies more than 95% of India's cotton acreage, but the yields have stagnated at around 500 kg per hectare, which is lower than the yields in China and Egypt. Given that BT brinjal and BT mustard have been cleared by the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, the questions raised by the paper on the use of genetic engineering technology itself has to be taken seriously, and as the paper argues, only in very rare circumstances, and that too with proper precautionary principles, there should be the adoption of GM technology, since the cost of genetic engineering technology are particularly high that are often unaffordable by the small farmers and also are less capable to withstand any crop losses. On that note, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the recent request by the Union government to the various social media platforms to emulate their practices in other countries like the UK to use artificial intelligence tools to identify and take down content which incite violence and thereby aid in law enforcement. As you are aware, there were a series of mob lynchings, particularly due to spread of rumors and hate messages on various social media platforms. Thereafter, due to the continued pressure by the government, the compliance rates of various social media platforms to the takedown requests of objectionable content has risen from 60% to 80%, and the recent development will further aid in the process of identifying the objectionable content and faster removal of such content, and thereby aid in taking effective action against such rumors. Further, WhatsApp has been asked to keep the complete trail of forwarding of unlawful content and thereafter share the metadata to identify the author of the content for taking suitable actions. We'll further look into this issue based on the future development. But for now, let's move on to the next issue, which is an editorial regarding the trade war between USA and China. As we had discussed earlier, both China and US had agreed upon reaching a mutually beneficial solution to the ongoing trade frictions between the two countries on the sidelines of the G20 meeting in Argentina. Given the softening of US stance on Iran and also normalization of the trade ties after the renegotiation of the NAFTA deal, there were hopes that the threats of global trade war are over and global trade would take place unhindered. However, recently, one of the top executives of the Chinese telecommunications giant Huawei was arrested by the Canadian authorities based on the United States' demands, which has indeed brought back the fears of escalating trade tensions between the two countries. The company has been accused of breaching American sanctions against Iran and also carrying out spying operations, thereby raising questions whether the recent US actions are legitimate with respect to national security of the US or is yet another front of the ongoing trade war. But even other countries like the Australia and the United Kingdom have been quite wary about doing business with the company due to the alleged gathering of intelligence and cyber espionage for which it is blamed for. What is important here is these actions could easily escalate and thereby have a negative impact and further worsen the ongoing trade war and hence put the global economy at risk. Therefore, serious efforts have to be made by both sides to bring a lasting solution that is acceptable to both sides in order to counter the rapid escalation of these tensions. On that note, I'm wrapping up today's news analysis. Do like, share, and comment to support this initiative. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.